violence in the field. We want to welcome our first speaker to the Geneva Peace Talks here today, which is Fatuma.
Thank you.
Fatuma is the founder of the Horn of Africa Development Initiative. She is also an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and her passion is football. So she has devoted a great part of her life to promote peace building through football. Fatuma, we are very proud to have you here from Kenya.
Thank you. Thank you so much. As you already heard, my name is Fatuma from Kenya, and I want to say jambo to everyone. There's a Kenyan greeting. I will start my talk by dividing my life into 3 parts, 3 decades and a half. I'm now 35 years old, and I'll start the first part by sharing with you an experience of my childhood, which really started as a child born to 2 parents who are from 2 ethnic backgrounds, and to date the 2 ethnic groups are still fighting. So literally, like, being born by the 2 parents was the first experience for me into violence, and not knowing which side to lean on to. And amid all this, northern Kenya, maybe for most of you might not know it, to date we still experience violence, and it is not really talked about in terms of like what the peace process that is happening in northern Kenya. What you see on media, what you see on television is so much about violence, and I want to thank the organizers of this conference because it's a very rare opportunity to be given a chance to talk about peace. And given just the brief background I've mentioned of being born by 2 parents who are from 2 different ethnic groups who are fighting, then I didn't have an identity as a child, and my identity was torn in between being identified with my mother and at another point being identified with my father. And through that, it has given me a very rich experience as a child to be able to know not only the difference but also share in that diversity and have a different identity from the other kids in my family and also in my background, which is Marsabit in northern Kenya. The second part of my life, which is the second decade when I was in my 20s as a child, a girl in northern Kenya, and seeing the way I'm dressed, I'm a Muslim girl, and you wonder how do I bring football into my life. I'm not allowed to even stand in front of you and speak given the cultural background, and playing football for me was just a dream. I never had a chance to play it until I was 25 years old. And for me, kicking the ball was really like an eye-opener, and also there was so much that I was holding within me that by kicking football, then I was able to release out. I've used football to bring the kids from the villages together. My program that I run in Marsabit is called Shoot to Score, Not to Kill, and we use football in place of guns, where kids are trained from a very young age, 13 years old, all the way to their mid-20s, to be fighters. You are only celebrated as a child, or you graduate into adulthood after killing a man. And for most boys in my community and in the whole of northern Kenya, then violence is the thing that is celebrated, and we don't have peace or anything that is symbolic to peace being celebrated. What we've done with football is to turn it around, and in my football, if I can call it that, we don't have red card. We don't have yellow card. And the reason for this is because when you give a yellow card, then you're already punishing violence. The kids in my village don't see that as a punishment. They see it as a reward for violence. And they want to do more harm and more damage to be able to get a red card. And in its place now, we've replaced it with a green card, where we celebrate individual fair play, and with white card, where we celebrate a team that is peaceful. And through this, slowly we are changing the mentality of the kids, where they are so much used to violence being celebrated and violence being rewarded, to where now it's peace being celebrated on and off the field. And slowly by slowly, hopefully maybe even FIFA can learn from us that we don't really need yellow card and red card. In its place, we can have the white card and the green card, where instead of punishing violence on the field, then we can reward fair play, and we can reward peaceful acts on and off the field. I will now quickly move on to the other part of my life, which is the third decade. I said I'm 35. And in my 30s, then other things started cropping up because I'm a young girl, expected to be married at the age of 13. I said no to that and managed to push it all the way to 30. I got married at the age of 32, sorry. I now have a young boy who is 1 year old. And marriage for me then meant something else completely because I wanted to have a choice. I wanted to have a voice and make a decision for myself first, because you can't be preaching something and you don't practice it yourself. And through that, living my own life, then setting an example for other younger girls in my community and hopefully in the whole of Northern Kenya and the rest of the world. Being veiled and dressed the way I am then is not a limitation, but I see it as a power in itself. And I'm able to use this to be able to be an example to other younger girls dressed like me and being able to also play football. So for the first time in Northern Kenya, we started the first ever football team for the girls. And I'm proud to say we started in 2008, but then slowly lost some of the girls but to early marriage, and some of them were forcefully taken out of the team. But today, as I stand here, we have 38 teams for girls in Marsabit, and that covers really like a big number. And through the football, then we've been able to also break the silence on issues that affect the girls. So we have created a safe space through football where you're not allowed to be seen outside. You don't have a voice because of the cultural limitations. But through football, then these girls have a space where they can share their experiences. And we've been able to also prevent early marriages. We've been able to deal with issues which are taboo to speak about outside. But through the football and the safe space, then they're able to deal with it. Finally, again, I took another big risk as a person in my own life by marrying the enemy, if I can call it that. And other than the 2 tribes that I already had in my own personal life, then I added the 3rd factor, who are the 3 tribes which are fighting. I married the enemy, but then that is finding inner peace for myself. And as a person then, I wasn't really happy being chosen for. I wanted to have a choice. And my choice happened to be a person in the enemy tribe. And although it was difficult in 2010 when I got married, but I'm happy today to stand here and say, for me, peace is really like following that path and not being restricted, like you can't do this, you can't do that at an individual level, but also at the community level. As a woman who should not stand even in front of the elders and speak, I've been able to get that audience and that space to be able to speak. And I will conclude by saying that peace to me as a person is like an egg. We all know what an egg is, and it's so fragile. It holds a whole life in it. But if you don't nurture it, you don't handle it with care, then it can easily break away. And as you sit here and listen to me today, take it back with you. We all have a responsibility. We can't leave it to the leaders. We can't leave it to the elders. As women, as youth, we all have a voice. Thank you so much.